Steve Scown and I'm the owner of Robo-Tek, and today we're going to have a bit of a look at a floating head. It's got some sort of issue with it. We're not exactly sure what it is, so we're going to pull it apart, see what's wrong with it and repair it. Right, so in order to open up the floating head, we'll first need to remove the floating device that goes around the outside of it. So I'll just slide that off, like that, and that will reveal all the screws that hold it together. Right, once we've removed the 14 stainless steel self-tappers, we're able to separate the top and bottom cover of the floating head. Okay, now that we've got the top separated from the housing, we can see the amount of water that's inside, and clearly this is supposed to be a watertight environment. If we look closely at the circuit board, we can see corrosion, therefore we're going to need to replace the circuit board. The first thing we need to do is disconnect the battery from the circuit board, and to do that we need to undo the circuit board, so I'll just do that now. So now that we've got the battery disconnected from the circuit board, we need to take off the power that goes to the switch, which is this one, and also the communication which enables us to control the robot. And then the last one we've got feeds the little light sensors on the front. Now the circuit board's out, we can inspect it, we can see further corrosion and damage, and this will need to be replaced. With water getting into the floating head and us having 29 volts of lithium battery in here, the safest thing to do is to replace all the components. So we've got a complete kit that's available through Robo-Tek, all the wiring looms, all the 7-pin cables, the main circuit board, the LED lights. We just cut them off, reattach everything, and that way when it is assembled, we know that we're going to get a great result, and we're not going to have further failures down the line. To remove the LED panel, we'll just take out these 3 self-tappers, and as expected there's a lot of water damage to this, so when in doubt, throw it out. So this is the main switch. We'll disconnect the main switch from it. Now if we look at it, it looks really clean, but as I said before, we've had water damage in here. There could be water inside the cables. Let's just replace it. So to remove the main switch, we need to undo the locking nut at the back, which I've already loosened, and then we'll be able to take it out from the front. To reassemble the push button switch, we'll need to put this washer back on. This is our rubber or silicone ring that goes over the top. So once that's assembled, we will insert it into the top. In the essence of time, we've already replaced the wiring looms, so they're all ready to go. So now we're going to reassemble it. The last thing that we need to do is to replace the silicone seal that's inside. Every time we separate one of these floating heads, to ensure the integrity of the seal, replace the seal and put some silicone around it before we close it up. With the silicone in place, we will place the silicone ring in. There's a lip, make sure the lip is facing down. And then just press it firmly into position. This will be fine to assemble immediately. So we're just going around to make sure that we've got it seated correctly, because if it's not seated correctly, we're going to have a leak. We're going to put another thin layer of red silicone on top of that seal, so when we place it on top of the base cover, we're going to have a nice waterproof seal. Right, now we will insert the circuit board. We have to put the wiring into it first, because then we will turn it upside down and mount it into position. Right, so this is the communication cable, This is the first lead that goes to our switch. That's our battery, so we'll leave that till last. Our LEDs for our lights. So our power to our switch goes on here, and then our battery into this one, and then we're done. So now we just need to position these wires so as we can tuck everything underneath. Bear in mind that silicone is still going to be wet, so we're trying to avoid putting too much silicone everywhere. And we'll just lower this circuit board into position and then put some self-tappers in it. Right, so with the wiring loom all attached and the circuit board pinned into position, we'll just turn the cover over and make sure that everything is working before we pinch it all off. So we should press it once, we get a battery light come on, we should get full charge, which we have, and that's all fine. If we hold the button in, make sure it turns off, it should click, which it has, and we're fine. So that's normal operation. So the final step is to close it up, making sure that we don't jam any cables underneath the ceiling ring. We'll just pull that over to the centre, and we just have a bit of a look inside to make sure everything is clear. And we know we've got this in the right position because it's sort of self-locating. It just fits in snugly. You'll see there's a nice little gap all the way around this. And if you're just checking for depth around it, you'll know that your cables aren't stuck inside it as well. You've got the same depth all the way around, means it's nice and flush, and then you're ready to put the 14 self-tappers through the top. So when I'm tightening this up, I just like to do it from side to side, or diagonally opposed, as some might say, to make sure that we're just pulling it all down nice and evenly. Then when you're finished, just go around and make sure that you haven't missed any. And the last step of the process is to put the floating ring back onto the floating head. And then this floating head is ready to go back into service. So remember, at Robo-Tek, there's nothing that you can bend or break that we can't repair or replace. And if you need a hand when you're doing any of your repairs, please don't hesitate to reach out.